your community. And we are part of a group of people who say to some people who don't care about some things that are very important to care about, you can change the direction of your arrow at any time.
Right.
And we would welcome you in. We would welcome you in. So we want to look for ways that people might change to invite them into this relationship. So what I want to say is when it comes to partnership development, when it comes to collaborative leadership, there are three critical phases of development: exploration, formation, and operation. Now, when you're exploring, again, for those of you who were with us last time, I talked about the discovery and engagement process, which involves asking good questions. Whenever you're with someone that you don't know very well, asking good questions is always a good way to start, because you're putting the emphasis on what they believe is important. And you're saying to them, I believe you're important. So asking a good question. Last time we said one of the questions you could ask is, imagine you were to wake up tomorrow and our city's just as it should be. How does that look to you? It's an open-ended question. You're throwing it on the table. And what are they telling you? What are they telling you in the answer to that question?
Their desires,
their heart, their desires. They're beginning to tell you about what centered sets that they involve. They'll begin to reveal it to you. If you ask them another question like, what are the three most pressing problems in our community? What are they telling you?
their concerns.
Their concerns. Again, it's a hard question. They begin to tell you what's important. And then you might ask them, how do you think you can solve some of these things? Then what are they telling you? Now they're telling you, here's what I do. And you're drawing them in more and more into beginning to take action because you're giving them permission to share some of the most important things that motivate them to serve. So when you're exploring, you want to ask good questions that aren't necessarily closed-ended. You don't want to ask a yes or no question. You want to ask a question that draws the person out, gives them a chance to express their dreams, helps them to express their heart. And it's a visionary. That's what I say. The function of these questions is visionary in nature. Now, you may not be the agency they need to connect with, but you may know other agencies in the community that you could say, boy, you know what, it sounds like the Boys and Girls Club might be a place for you to connect and work alongside them. Or you may be able to say to them, point them to the right place for them to serve. And you know what? Then you begin to be a trusted leader in the community. You don't just always point at yourself, but you begin to point around. And you know what? When leaders show up at the door of some other agency because you refer them there, they begin to look at you as somebody who is less competitive. Remember these tables? Now I said that. I know. I wasn't listening. I don't know, Reggie. I'm sorry. Your mouth was moving.
I know. I'm used to it. He's heard it before.
But that's the deal, is that if we begin to demonstrate that we're kingdom players, we're not here just to compete. There's millions of people in our city, or thousands of people in our city, and we realize God has enough people with different callings that God has brought. And this is what we believe as Christians.
Right.
God has brought these people to this city. If we believe that, then we're not afraid for those players to play at somebody else's table. We can let that happen. And then we can ask them at the end of the interview, is there somebody else I should be talking to? And you know what? If that person senses you're that kind of a genuine person, they'll refer people to you. You can say, could you make an introduction? Because that introduction is worth gold. Social capital, people underestimate the value of social capital. And that's what that is. So that's the beginning. Formation, then, after you've been around a bit and you're beginning to get to know who the players are in the community and what their motivations and interests are, formation is when you call together those people around a partnership that you know needs to happen, and you understand that those people from those different channels of influence have interest in some of the things you're trying to see accomplished, you can call them to the table in a meeting. Now, a formation is transitory in nature, but it's critically important. And maybe you find, I know this meeting needs to be convened, but I'm not the right person to convene it. I'm going to have someone from my advisory board that has influence in this area to invite people in. Because when they ask, I know people are going to comment. If I'm an officer and I know I'm going to be moving on, I can be a catalyst behind the scenes and ask people to help me to convene that meeting and to invite folks in. And so, timing, you have to know that the people you're calling to the table are interested in the partnership you're seeking to form. Convening, you're looking for the person who others trust. So it may not be you, and you have to be humble enough to say that. And then how do we communicate clearly about the date, the time, the place, the purpose of this meeting that we're going to have to form this partnership? Operation then comes out of a successful formation meeting will lay out a strategy for that partnership and say, we want to accomplish X by this date. Here's the resources and dollars we have to do it, and we need your engagement because, and give them why. And those who buy in at that point join you in operations. Maybe the local Salvation Army is taking something on, and we talked about a number of projects where we're going to need partnership to carry it out, whether it's music or a capital fund drive or the pathway of hope. And there's ways in which we're going to have to manage that partnership. And you can have formal management by creating an operations team, and usually it's going to be one of the organizations involved. I wouldn't try to put together a whole new operations team necessarily, although that does happen. Sometimes only nonprofits are formed just to manage that partnership. But most of the time, it's an existing for-profit or nonprofit group that takes on, gives a little bit of their administrative time to manage that partnership. And really good management of partnerships involves creative thinking, thinking outside the box. It involves decision-making at the right time about the right things to accomplish the goal that we've all agreed on. And then it involves building people up by shooting out kudos to people who've accomplished something that really they didn't have, and making sure others know about it. So you celebrate the accomplishments, part of volunteer management everywhere. And then it's really good management is also motivational for those involved so they stay involved. Otherwise, I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of burned out volunteers who had people in charge of a partnership who didn't do those last few things of helping them participate in the decision making, really being built up as people. The kudos volunteers there are so critical to all of this. Now, I'm going to give you an exercise, and we're ready to right on the 2:30 mark right now, so we're going to have about a half hour to do this. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at, we have a column here that says partnership. It's 1, 2, 3. Partnership, 1, 2, 3. You can look at an existing partnership that you have that needs to be pumped up if you want, or you can look at a new partnership. Maybe as you're doing the music ministry that you're talking about, who do we need to partner with in the community to make this happen? And, as you're looking at the way Pathways of Hope might help the community, thank you. You can look at, I want you to name 3 partnerships. So it can be an existing partnership that you want to bolster, or it might be another partnership that's brand new. And look through each of those levels. And if you want, I'll leave this slide up. And you can look up here for reference. What do we need to do to move it from exploration to formation to operation? And then look at your timeline. What would be our timeline to carry that out? And this will help you as tomorrow we get into a planning stage for what we're going to accomplish between meetings. So this is a really important exercise. So I want to excuse you now to your groups, release you to your groups, and we'll have a half hour. Okay? We'll keep the time. You just focus on your conversation and doing the exercise. If you have questions, you can ask them up for the students. Slide out.
Right. I haven't tried it yet. The nickel was there.
All right.
But I haven't tried it.
Well, let's see. Partnership.
I don't have a full.
I'd be happy.
I have it a little small. I don't know how much it was small. I think I need the membership.
ED and G.
Already have it. Already have it. We hooked on mine and real wasn't me. It's okay, I recognize it. This is what it's and the same box from the same box I have on my list.
It's funny because there's always the local teams in Dallas.
So if he charges it up, it's like it's fine. So you sent it to me, right? I think so. So I can download it. I'll take it.
Right, so we are.
Could you work it in like a week?
Program services. And in terms of commitment, is they have a teen study job.
Very next thing.
They have 16 kids.
To me, it's like,
Well, I do think we need to, we need to get to somebody that can actually
the whole atmosphere.
So it's a job. So it's the gaining of commitment. We had their board come in, chair, executive team in,
I think that's good.
several
I need to get it set.
others here.
Maybe next week. I mean, we'll still
So
have
then you moved the chart.
Yeah, I know, sorry, I'll get it back. Gotta get it back, there it is.
It went away again. There you go. There you go.
Sorry.
Hands off. So formation wise, is where we're at, gaining commitment. We actually have, we don't have a memorandum of understanding yet. But we do have verbal commitment. On all so verbal commitment.
March the 7th, we will try to.
And then time
Are
you
you available and willing to teach the same thing? It's just something about 15 minutes.
trying to put that together at the time. In process.
I'm sorry about that. I know that's, the best thing about the Apple Watch is it's something to know. I always knew that I wasn't sleeping.
What it would do is, it would, in terms of operation management, direct so operationally speaking, having a director, that staff,
Kathy's gonna come in, she's gonna be burned or something, she'll be sitting on the side of the beach all day.
they would bring all of their appropriate
You know, I,
expertise in that, because they're already doing this. So they would bring their program, and we would engage them with that. No, it would be a joint. Yeah. In fact, the staff would be salvage from the staff. And it would be salvage yard. And salvage yard insurance. We're partnering with them. We utilize them. We have funding through Boys and Girls Club entities. You know, you've got the Jason, the national grants that are available. In fact, we were over in Raleigh when we transformed our community center into a red shield Boys and Girls Club program. And that allowed us to have the funding. National. Well, this right now, it would be just for job programs.